told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Hello and welcome to A Perfect Match. I'm Aysha and I'm here to talk about episode 7 of season 17 of Married at First Sight. And I'm here with my amazing co-host, Jason Reed, who I do have a question for you, Jason.
Shoot, go ahead.
Do you like to have fun?
What kind of question is that? Of course, I like to have fun. I'm here every week, aren't I? Having fun all the time. That was so ridiculous. Listen, a lot of times I wish people can get a glimpse into our pre-show chat, our pre-show.
Don't mention
banter.
it because people have already said they do want to peek into it.
Yeah, they definitely wanted one this week because there was some calming down that needed to be done from one co-host to another. Because one of our hosts here decided to watch the episode right before recording, so she came in hot on a certain couple.
Not us using pronouns. I thought we were saying one of the co-hosts.
So one of the people came in hot. That wasn't me. So this is gonna be this is gonna be interesting. This is gonna be fun. This was an episode. Let me tell you.
It was. It's really hard to articulate the feelings that you have sometimes watching these shows. You just have to sit there and remind yourself it's a reality TV television. It's a reality TV television show.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reality TV show, but there are real lives here. There are real lives at stake. These are real people. And so, sometimes you just feel for people. You feel for certain people. And, that's
You're talking about Orion, right? Because he was so wrong. Do you really feel bad for him? Right? Or am I misunderstanding? Am I not vibing with everyone else here? Like we all feel bad for Orion, right? Orion is the wrong party. I thought I was pretty clear.
You were trying to press my buttons. Oh my goodness!
Part of our talk in the pre-show was about our notes. How Lord Orion's was probably if you put it pages in a book, it was probably like 8 pages long. Everybody else you could fit on 1 page because they had so little content compared to the Lord and Orion content we got in this episode.
This whole podcast could be about Lauren and Orion.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we're like, let's do a speed round. Cameron and Claire.
We really
ear
good.
Hurt.
He got his ear popped. Austin and Becca, religion. Emily and Brennan, do you know how to have fun? And
literally.
Let's talk more about Lauren and Orion. I got some more thoughts.
Exactly. Because that's what this episode did. It really spent a lot of time on Lauren and Orion because there is a lot happening with them. So we're going to get into it. But before we do, make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. That's where you can get all of our podcasts about Married at First Sight, Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, The Show Perfect Match. Go subscribe so you don't miss an episode where we talk about all these unconventional love shows. And leave us a 5-star rating and review. We really appreciate it when you do. Jason, we got a 5-star rating this week, huh?
We do. We have one from Kiki.
You
Wolf.
betcha.
You bet your bottom dollar. We have one from Kiki Wolf. The title is "You Guys Make My Weeks Better," and it just says "Y'all are the best." We really appreciate that, Kiki. Short and sweet. We like the long ones just as much as we like the short ones. Thanks a lot for the 5-star review. And like we said, keep them coming. Because we gotta Gotta block. We gotta fight it back against some of the haters out there that want to take our podcast down.
They want to dim our light, stop our joy,
stop our giggles, if you will.
Right. Oh, sorry. Let me mute.
Yeah. So help us fight back against the trolls that are trying to reduce our rating and get us. We've been trying to get back up to our glory days from a 4.8 on that podcast.
We just can't.
We stuck at 4.7 for a while since the Cole Sweeties dilemma over on Love Is Blind really tanked us. So we've been trying to come back from that.
You have an opinion, and just folks are just whew.
So help us out, get us back to our glory days.
When did disagreeing stop being a thing?
Right, exactly. So help us out over there. Give us the 5 stars. If you watch this on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, comments. That all helps get more eyes on our podcast. If you view on YouTube, we had the most YouTube views we've ever had on a regular episode last week. So let's keep that trend going. Do the thumbs. I listen. We got like 90s. We got like 97 thumbs up on the last video. I want to hit over 100. I don't know why it's so hard for y'all to hit thumbs up on these videos, because we got like a bunch of views last week. It's only 97 thumbs.
You know where we could get a lot of people to give us thumbs up? On our Facebook group, where we have 700 plus people in there talking about the show every week. We're having a great time in there, giving updates, such as Chris from season 12 being on Bumble.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that if we didn't have this Facebook group.
Whoa, ladies, whoa! Don't everybody crowd him at once. Don't everybody go find him at once now. Just give him a sec.
Let me change my location to Atlanta.
Yeah, let him breathe a little bit. Saying. Don't everyone go all at once, okay?
Somebody needs to warn the women of Atlanta if he's still there. Maybe he's moved. But yes, go join our Facebook group. You can find it at A Perfect Match Podcast on Facebook. We do have a password in order for you to join. This week, the password is
emotional bank account.
You gotta make those.
I only know one bank account. You know what I mean? And I stay making deposits and withdrawals every day because it's big. There's a lot in there, so I gotta make a lot of deposits and withdrawals.
Jason, my brother said Aysha Welch, because he does listen to this podcast, and he said it in front of a friend of mine, one of my best friends, who doesn't listen to this podcast yet.
Well, then we're getting her on the how's your best friend then?
We're getting her on the MAFS train, but she heard him say this. The way she bust out laughing, almost to tears,
because it's perfect. Because it is perfect. That's why. It fits to a T. Oh. Whenever anyone hears like, oh my, that's perfect. Just perfect.
Oh my goodness. It's an oxymoron.
She said emotional bank account. They just said bank account. Somebody say money?
The emotional bank account where you can make withdrawals, but you gotta make deposits.
Yeah, these 1-star reviews. These 1-star reviews are really taking a big withdrawal out of my emotional bank account.
Right.
So put some deposits. Put some deposits in there. 5-star reviews
in our podcast bank account.
It made a big withdrawal. I won't lie.
Okay, we'll stop delaying, y'all. We know what y'all are here to hear.
Listen, before we start, I'm going to lead a group for everyone listening. For those people that are maybe even on the podcast, we're going to lead a big group breathing exercise before we start with our first couple. We are going to start with the most dynamic, with the most content couple this week.
Emily and Brennan?
Yeah. we made y'all wait for the good stuff last week. We got complaints. Get to the good stuff early. Okay, fine. We will. But let's all start. Let's all breathe. We're going to breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to get our temperatures down. We're going to get our minds right. We're not going We're not going to yell or scream about.
I tried to give my
things.
yelling out pre-show.
Yeah,
Okay.
you did. You did. You did. So let's get started. I don't know. You know, fun fact for y'all: a little behind the scenes of a Perfect Match. We started pre-selecting who we're going to pick before the show, who we're going to talk about, who each one of us is going to talk about. I was watching the show when Aysha texted me and volunteered to take Lauren and Orion.
And I wasn't watching yet. I was going to be watching delayed.
I said, okay, sure.
He said, your choice. So I was like, okay, well.
And then she picked Lauren and Orion. So I was like, all right, cool.
I was like, yeah, we have like Pastor Cal. There'll be some content there.
I said, less for me to do. You go for it. Take it. I almost feel bad. I almost thought about taking all three of the other couples.
You might as well.
There's so much Lauren and Orion content.
Okay, guys, ready to put in some overtime. Mm-hmm. Okay, especially for people who haven't watched. Y'all are probably like, what are y'all talking about? This was an explosive episode for Lauren and Orion, and not in a good way. Oh, gosh. Okay, so we pick up on the dinner conversation.
I was shocked. I really was.
So we're still here?
Yeah, because typically we leave these conversations after an episode and we don't see any more of the conversation. They leave it unresolved because that's what Married at First Sight does.
Like that no one finishes conversations.
Right, exactly. So I was shocked when we came back the exact moment we left off last episode. I was like, oh, there's more? Okay, let's go.
You're like, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm here. Got my listening hat on. Let's go.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Let me help y'all out.
Yes, here you go.
My mom says somebody's looking out for me.
That's right, Mama Watch. I got you.
It's like,
let it sink in, Mama Watch, because this may be one of the last times. This is probably the second to last time you will ever see this couple. Let it sink in. Get the picture in. Right. I'm surprised Aysha does not have use her editing skills to scratch out Orion's face on this picture. Do it like he did Michael, put a big blob of something over the other person.
Like, oh, sorry, I didn't. Oops. All I see is Lauren. So we pick up at the dinner conversation, okay, and we get that reenactment of, or they recap kind of a little bit where she says like, oh, she's explaining like she had sex 2 months ago. And he says like, oh, hearing that like took sex off the table for me.
Which apparently was like, because we questioned, was that a clever editing? No, that was apparently right where that happened. Like that was what he said about that.
Yep. Exactly. And so she's like, all right, well, what's next? Sex is done. And then we finally move forward to like now this episode. And he's like, well, I'm curious like where you're sitting with it because you sound like you're not okay with it. And she's like, well, it felt mildly judgy. And like, why make that the reason that sex is off the table? Like that sex is not an option. He's like, it wasn't. It played a part, but we just still have more steps to like getting to know each other. And I don't want sex to just be like a checked off thing.
The wishy-washy just started right away.
Like, yeah, immediately.
I didn't say that. No, that's what you said.
Montre?
Run the tape. He up here telling me his stuff. He said he didn't say. Come get him, Montre. Come get him.
Because what you literally, the way this conversation just happened, it was A plus B equals C. And then, no, but I didn't say that. I never said B was part of the equation. It was kind of like, and so then she says, well, what you're saying like doesn't match like what this conversation is. And he's like, what? Just because we're like because we're taking sex off the table, but we're talking openly about sex. Because before this was a very like upfront conversation where it was basically like, what are we gonna do like in the bedroom? And so she's like, look, I just want to have a quiet meal. I just would appreciate some quietness right now. And so they keep the camera.
She put this man in timeout. She said, I want to hear from you. I don't want to speak to you. And I don't want to hear your voice for the rest of the night. Don't make me send you to your room. Now, I really I don't know what is worse. I think I would just prefer to leave the meal at that point. I would not want to just be eating in silence.
Like, can I have a to-go box?
Yeah.
Because if I'm really enjoying it, might want to take it back to my room. If it's so.
Do the producers make them stay there? Like, no. Y'all gonna stay here in this silence. So I know someone's not gonna be silent.
So then, so I'm thinking, okay, we're about to fade out of the scene, right? Here goes Orion.
And the silence was perfect. And
yes.
then he just, no.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be silent, Orion. We're supposed to be quiet.
He's like, well, if I'm being honest, I'm not good with the quietness. She's like, well, I'm not going to beat a dead horse and say that there's not, because I'm not going to beat a dead horse because I literally have nothing constructive to say. He's like, well, why can't we fix it now? She's like, because I don't feel safe. And then he's like, okay. And she starts crying and she's like, look, we need ample time to discuss this. And he's like, well, I'm sorry if you felt like I was pressing. She said, oh, you know, doggone well.
Boy,
that is not an apology. She was like, you know, if you say I'm sorry if you she was like, you know, that's not an apology. And I was so happy she pointed that out. Because usually people are like, they'll be like, okay, right. And be like, maybe sit on it. Like, that wasn't a real apology. She called it out right then and there. Like, you're not about to play in my face like that. You already tried to backtrack on what you were just saying.
Boy, I bet you wish you shut the heck up now, don't you? Bet you wish you were sitting in silence now,
like,
don't
wait,
you?
Quiet meal.
Test her if you want to, but
so she calls him out. She's like, you know, I'm sorry if you felt is not an apology. He's like, well, I guess I have nothing to say.
You should not have said nothing in the first place. You should have taken the offer of a silent meal when you had it.
So you don't know how to apologize without like, oh, I'm sorry if you felt. Well, what's the point? What are you saying?
Obviously, he doesn't feel like he has anything to apologize for because he
then why did he even try to do that halfway apology?
Because he a dummy. Because he I don't know. He just had to say something, I guess.
That was so. I was already like, that was so annoying. Mm-hmm. Y'all, that's scene 1.
Scene 1 of like 8. Okay, right. Of just nonsense. They talk about roller coaster of a relationship. This roller coaster went up and down like 3 times during this episode. Yeah.
And so that then I have nothing to say. I was like, okay, he's petty. Got it. So then they're going to bed. She tries to make a little jokey joke. Funny meeting you here. And he asked her, like, is there a temporary solution? And he says, he's really sorry if he didn't support her the way she needed in that moment. Once again, you're apologizing if blank. Can't you read the room?
No,
obviously she's hurt. She was literally crying in your face while you stood up there stone cold looking at her like, yeah, feel bad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was so, he seemed so full of himself in that moment that it was like, how can you sit here if you actually care about the, like, do you care just even as like a fellow human being?
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you're so self-righteous. You're so morally superior in your mind to everyone else. You can have that attitude. You can have that kind of looking down on someone and being like, well, yeah, you're crying because you're wrong. Because you're, you did a bad thing. So you should feel bad.
I did not like him sitting across from her at that dinner table while she's literally bawling and him like...
And him pressing her to talk more. Like,
yes,
she wanted to be quiet, and he talks later about, how upset he is that things got, in his words, so explosive and emotions got raised. Yeah, she was trying to keep things at a certain level by not talking in the moment, because I think she knew if she started talking, she was going to get to a certain level, certain temperature. And she probably in that moment, in that dinner, did not want to get to a level of people saying, look at here, angry black
Mm-hmm.
lady. That was
She
probably
talked
going through
about it
her
on
head
the
for a moment.
after party.
Yeah.
She's like, she knows she is not an angry person, but she knows that she is well aware of that stereotype. And she's like, the moment she is anywhere in that territory, she's going to be labeled as an angry black woman.
Yeah. So
That
it's
is
not,
the reality of our world. That's
yeah.
why an angry black woman is a term that people know, because it's such a stereotype that constantly happens in every area of reality TV. And she's aware. I am like, this is a very real possibility. And I'm doing everything to manage my emotions so that I don't even appear that way.
And
Oh,
talk about being
but she
culturally,
doesn't understand.
yeah, talk about being culturally insensitive. Like that should have, if he had any regard or thought about her and her culture and what she would be perceived as, he would realize that. But
He's the only one with a culture in this relationship. You didn't know?
he can't see past himself
Mm-hmm.
and his culture, his community, which, listen, I feel like I said it week one that these two were going to have a culture off. And I think that's exactly what has been happening.
Yeah. Okay. No. He asked her, they're in bed. He asked her if there's a temporary solution. He says, he's really sorry if he didn't support her. He's curious. He's curious if sex being off the table, if she thinks that sex being off the table is because she had sex.
Did that thing that I said make you think that that's the thing that I meant?
She's like, yes, that's because that's what you said. He's like, it wasn't. She said, stand on what you said.
Montre, bring in a monitor and rewind the tape and show him right now that that's what he said. Do it, Montre. Get your ass in here.
When she said stand on what you said, this is your mini TikTok lesson. So right now, the new saying that people keep saying, and recently T.I.'s son said it when he was angry and in this viral video, is stand on your business. And so I literally saw a TikTok today that was like, when people pick up a saying and won't let it go. And this girl was like sitting there just like dazed and confused. And just, she had herself saying like, stand on your business, stand on your business. That's literally, it's like people are using it out of control just because it's a saying that people are, and they just think that's a thing.
Has anyone stood on the roof of their like small business? But like, I'm standing on my business.
You're right. That's a dad joke.
Fits.
Right. So she tells him, stand on what you said. She doesn't want an apology. She wants answers. And so she says, why did you say that if that's not what you meant? And he's like, well, because it's kind of
no, he pauses. He's like, how can I say this without, he's like, I guess there's no good way, because that's what I meant. Yeah. No kidding.
He's like, because it's kind of the truth. What are you saying? You just said.
He doesn't even know anymore what he's saying. He has no idea anymore.
You literally just said, so do you think that sex is off the table because you had sex? She's like, yes, that's what you said. Now here he goes. 4 sentences later. Well, that's kind of the truth.
He's just like, he basically like, well, I didn't say that. But if I did say that, that would have been the truth.
Oh my
gosh. He has lost himself in his double talk, in his, his both Lauren and Ryan, I think, have both gone probably through a lot of therapy, because they both use a lot of therapy words. And I feel like they're getting just bogged down in grace, understanding, my truth, your truth, having my back, emotional bank accounts, space.
Deposits, withdrawals.
Yeah, they're so lost that they don't even, like, Orion especially doesn't know what he's even talking about anymore.
Yeah. So she says, let's not start this, Orion. Because mind you, he brought it up.
And listen, it's coming out, right? So listen here.
Yeah. He says,
do not play with me in my face.
Yes.
The everything is moving. I was like, okay, we're getting to a level now. You better be careful, Orion.
Because now you're disrespecting, like, it's first you're judging me, right, at the dinner table. Now you're just being flat out disrespectful.
Now you're gaslighting me at this point.
Yeah.
This is, that term gets used a lot.
I've been holding it back.
Yeah, but that's what this is. And I don't even know if this is intentional gaslighting or he's accidentally gaslighting her because he's not even sure of what he said anymore. Like, it's so crazy.
And so she's like, why are you saying it's the truth now? And he's like, you were engaged, were you not?
No. No, neither were you.
She's like, no, I didn't. This was before I was selected. He's like, but you applied for the show, right?
And as soon as you typed in kineticasting.com to start your application process, that was it for you. There was no more sex, no more relationships, over.
As soon as you formed the thought that you were going on Married at First Sight, that was it. When you were committed to me.
When the people from Kinetic Casting said, we're going to do this season in Denver, it was over for you. No more sex, no more nothing.
Oh God, sorry. Pepper
In
was
2014,
reverse sneezing.
In 2014, when they said, I know, we should do this Married at First Sight show, it was over for you. Right. You were engaged.
Where were you in 2011? You should have known they were planning for the show.
Yeah, you should have known the concept was in Germany or something, that they were going to bring it to the US and you were engaged.
Oh, and so it's like, it's not until he's pressed that the truth comes out. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, let me backtrack. And then she's like, no, tell me why, blah, blah, blah. Now it's like, well, you were engaged, were you not? First of all, where was that energy? Back at the dinner table, when all of a sudden you weren't judging. Well, I don't think he understands what judging means.
No, he doesn't.
I don't think he understands what this show means.
Listen, me and my wife were watching together, right? Mm-hmm. For those that don't understand my process, I watch with my wife first so that we can, freely talk and conversate with each other. And then later I do a notes pass because I can't focus on notes and talk to my wife on the show at the same time. Mm-hmm. So he says, well, I'm not judging. We both, same time. So, yes, you are. That's exactly what you're doing. You're doing nothing but that right now.
Like, I can't think of another word for it.
Yeah.
Evaluating. Assessing. Like, how are you not judging her? I'm sorry. What? I would like to see what judging means to him. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I don't. And so she says, look, I don't do well with the gray. And she asks again, why did that comment about, me having sex 2 months ago, take it off the table? And he says, well, because it tells me like your intention with this process. He doesn't feel comfortable knowing that she was with someone else while going through this process.
But my question for him would be, so when, like she said, sex is done. So like, when do you think you'll be able to get over this great indignity that I suffered against, this infidelity that I did against you when I didn't even know that you were going to be married to me or I was going to be married to anyone? When is this going to be forgiven by you, oh great Orion?
And it's almost like, it's not like there's this big thing that we don't know. Because this man has been on After Party. more times than after party has happened this season.
He told his
So
own after parties.
that would have been the opportunity for him to be like, well, what you didn't see was before this, blah, blah, blah. So if there was something for him to say,
Mhm.
he is just trying to hang on anything he can. And at this moment, it's this sex comment. We'll see how things change as the episode progresses. And so he says, so she's like, so you don't think my intentions are like as pure as yours? He's like, I'm not judging you for it. And then she said, she was like, but so you were just saying I'm not moving in a way that your future wife would move. She's like, it's not fair, and I'm standing on that. He's like, well, I'm standing on that. I'm not judging you.
I don't know what you think
Do
you're
I have
standing
to
on.
look up the Webster definition?
You
of
better
judge?
move. You better move off that because what you're standing on is awfully flimsy.
You are about to fall,
Yeah.
Orion. Judge, to form an opinion or conclusion about.
That sounds like what he did.
You
exactly.
found out that she slept with someone 2 months ago. So you are forming a conclusion that she didn't have the right intentions going through this process.
Yeah.
You judged her. I really hope he's listening.
He's not. I doubt. If I was Orion, I would not set foot on any type of social media, on any podcast talk about
This
this
man
show.
stays on after party.
But that was before, that was before the world saw what a douche he is.
Oh, yeah, because the world is watching. Got it. Yeah.
Everyone, all the indigenous men of the world are watching Married at First Sight. Don't you know?
Yeah, it's a
He's
lifetime
he's
bigger
going to
than.
be. I have to wonder if he thinks he's going to be some sort of, hero in his community for this, some sort of icon after this, because he was so steadfast. And it's weird, right? Well, listen, we're not even talking about that yet.
Yeah.
That part of it. We'll talk about that part of it when we get to that part of it. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. So he says he's standing on not judging her. He said it made him uncomfortable when he heard that from her, that happened 2 months ago. And he says it was careless on his part, the way it came up. She said his truth is his truth, and that's all he has to stand on. So she woke up. Orion was not in the bed with her. She felt like she was being judged and attacked for her sexual past. She felt isolated. She felt unheard. She said the consistency hasn't been there. This is all like her talking to us on her phone camera. She said the consistency has not been there about sex because he told her last night that he does not care that she had sex 2 months ago.
Lie.
Did y'all not just hear everything we just said that this man said?
Lie. He realized maybe that was the night that he
called his sister.
He called his sister. He's like,
Yeah.
oh crap. Let me more backtracking, more like, actually, you know what? I don't even care.
He's like, wait, I don't care. Huh. So do you, for some odd reason, do you think I care?
Why would you think that?
Where is that coming from? I didn't say that. I didn't judge you. I didn't ask about that. What are you talking about, Lauren? It's okay? Concerning.
Yeah. Do you need to go see the doctor?
Oh my goodness.
I didn't see that.
Like, what do you what?
So my gosh. Is Orion here? Is my twin brother here? Oh my God. I told him to stay out of my life.
That's the only thing that would make sense.
Freaking
There's a
Orion.
twin twist. There is a twin twist.
Listen, if you want to revamp, if you want to revitalize a franchise, get some twists in here like that. That would be so freaking fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. So she tells us she's able to extend grace, but it still does make her feel unsettled in this marriage. So here we have a woman who is trying her hardest to really understand where this man is coming from. She is doing way more than what most women who have gone through this show would have done at this point. Mm-hmm. So many would have. Could you imagine, like, I literally could name so many people, so many women, past wives, who would have just been like, that would have shut them down. They would have been done. Dom. Imagine if Max said this to her. Done. Done. And so the amount of consideration and at this point that she's even giving is showing that she is committed to this. One thing that's for sure is Lauren is committed to this marriage. I have not doubted that at any moment. Is she a perfect human being? No, no one is. But does she understand that, okay, me saying this has impacted him in this way. Let's figure out how we can talk about this and move forward. See how it hurts him. Mm-hmm. Why does it hurt him? How can we talk about, it's just off the table for you now? Just no questions asked? Okay. That's my understanding. We just talked about that, and that's where you landed. And now you're questioning me, asking me that if that's why you said that you literally said it after.
Boy, are you okay? Like that's what after that conversation I had in the bed, that's what are you okay? Because you don't even know what you said anymore. Like, do you not remember what you said 15 minutes ago?
That question. Look straight at the end of the bed, Montre. If y'all are new here,
we need to cut. We need to have him.
If y'all are new here and y'all are confused, Montre he's now an executive producer on the show. He's like up there. But he used to be like one of the producers that were like with the couples, and there was a couple in season 9. No. Yes, season 9 with Michael and Mika. And there was 10, yes. 9 was North Carolina. Yes, season 10. And Mika at one point just had enough with what Michael was saying and his fabrication of his career and his salary and offers and everything. And she just looked up. She said, Montre. Go look it up.
One of the best fourth wall breaks
ever
you will ever see in reality TV. Look it up, please.
It's on YouTube. You look up Mika Michael season 10. That's their most notorious clip from that season. So love to call out Montre. Okay. So she comes, we come back. Lauren comes back to the room. She just went to the gym. She did legs and cardio. I said, okay, fitness queen, working out on your honeymoon. Not that she has like steam to work off or anything. I'm sure she wants to be anywhere.
It's like, do y'all have a punching bag?
She's like, yeah, I did legs cardio. I ran a couple miles on the beach. Then I did morning yoga. And then just like anything to be away from the room.
I did some meditation.
Right. Then there was a Pilates class going on. I went and did that. That was a 2-hour thing.
Make your own voodoo doll.
Then they needed some help with serving breakfast to like everyone here at the resort. So I helped out with that. I was like, I know how to cook. I can help. Okay. So
I taught a paddleboarding lesson,
right. Anything at this point. She's like, I went and hung out with Claire and Cameron. They're doing okay. He still got on that swim shirt. Oh, okay. So she goes back to the room. He's tired. He's like, yeah, we've been a little offbeat this morning.
Does he know what offbeat means? He uses this word a lot.
Yes. Exactly.
Offbeat. What?
An understatement of the century. She woke up, you weren't there. He said he's feeling emotionally depleted.
He said he needs to sit in his emotions.
Yes.
Okay.
She says yesterday was a lot. She offers him grace and knows that wasn't his best self, and she's not going to hold that moment against him. He said he's in the same boat and everything she's feeling is fair. He said he really did just drop the ball. She said, look, moving forward, I just like want consistency in your words because I know I got very vocally dramatic with you, and she just didn't feel like he was her husband at that moment. She felt like he was some man she met 6 days ago, which in all reality, he is.
He is. Uh-huh.
And so she says she has seen moments where he's been at his best self. And so she knows that at his core, that's him. And so he says, thank you. And he starts crying. She's like, look, we got this.
What an expert way from Orion to turn this around and be the victim. At the end of the day, this man slut shamed her And now the next morning is crying and running over, and she is offering to take him in her arms and hug him to make him feel better. What?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? No way. Run, Lauren. Run.
As far as you can, please. And it even just hurts to see on After Party. Even after watching that first scene, she was tearing, like she had a tear that fell because she's like, "Oh, I just feel bad for old Lauren."
A tear that what?
Why do you hate that word when I say
A
it?
tear that fail?
So there's no other word that comes out like that. It's just that.
There's no other Texas word that you use that much.
How is that a Texas word?
You try so hard to cover the Texan, and then with fell, it just fail.
It's like my news anchor voice.
Yeah, for real. It's so fun to me. I have to call it out when it happens. I'm
I
sorry.
gotta avoid that
I'm sorry I
word
interrupted. Keep going.
at all costs. So yeah, I felt so bad for her just seeing like her crying on After Party, even in reaction to seeing this happen, because it just shows you how intense those emotions were for her at that time.
Yeah, for sure. It takes her back to that moment.
Yeah.
And how she felt there, because no matter how often you see it, it's still kind of jaw dropping that he would be that uncaring and unfeeling to really kind of put her in a position to make her feel ashamed of what she did, to hold himself in a higher regard because he chose or not chose, I don't know what his situation was, to not have sex for a year and a half. It's ridiculous. And I wish instead of crying, she would, see how dumb and ridiculous he is. And just be, but she has said oftentimes that she sometimes sits in shame and guilt. And she has told him that before this conversation, and he still chose to go about it this way.
And it really just shows how her character is. The way I would have been going in on him on After Party, like you would have seen no signs of any amount of concern or anything, but she still was so respectful. Like there was nothing that she said on After Party where I've been like, oh, like they're done. Shoot. Kirsten and Shaq, you could tell, like on After Party with the way that they were talking about each other, you knew.
Oh, by the way, Kirsten, what a dud of an After Party guest. I don't need her back. Okay.
She was on After Party, y'all. Yeah. She had notes.
but offered nothing from those notes.
Full page. I don't know what I think she thought she was about to be doing what we're doing.
A full page of chicken scratch.
She said, I got to break down the episode line by line.
Who else are we going to see? We saw Clinton, Kirsten. You got to imagine Nicole's going to be
There's no way. Yeah. Nicole. Jasmine. I bet you will see Jasmine.
They invite Gina?
No. I don't think they'll do Dom or Mac.
No. Shaq is a possibility.
Then think back one more season. Maybe we might see like a Stasha or
an Alexis.
Yeah. There's some options. Okay. So they're on the balcony. He's in his head right now. And he feels bad, really bad that he's not talkative or touchy as usual. And we get a confessional where Lauren says Lauren said that Orion still is feeling like he failed the marriage. So she really wants to talk to Dr. Pia. And so he breaks down to Dr. Pia what happened. And he just says he's like, he breaks down to her like why they're, the conversation they had about sex, right? And he just feels like they need to have more a foundation. And he feels like he put her in an uncomfortable position. He feels like he failed her as a husband, and he's crying. And even Lauren is trying to reassure him. She's like, you didn't. You did not fail.
Again, like, why are we making this man feel like, why are we pepping this man up? This is the perpetrator of said, not making feel safe. Like, why are you the victim in this moment? Why are you the patient?
He's like, okay, I'm trying to see how, okay, I'm gonna just be like, I failed this marriage, and then, we can end this. And then with her being so supportive and reassuring, he's like, oh, okay, now I gotta make it look like she failed the marriage.
Yeah, it's funny how he uses those same words later against her.
Mm-hmm.
When he says, oh, I failed the marriage, and then he turns it back around on her later and says she failed the marriage. It's so outrageous to me.
Yes. So Dr. Pia says, like, you're using a lot of judgmental words on yourself. And he said he got uncomfortable and he got confused during the conversation. It reminded him of protecting his mom and sister from his stepdad growing up. And then Lauren says she gets more animated when she's frustrated, but she wasn't yelling. And she did.
I did like that she, put the exclamation point on that, because he was trying to paint the picture of she got very intense, she got very emotional. Things were very, she's like, I did not yell. I got, animated in my vocal volume, which or something she said like that. But
she was
did
passionate,
not yell.
I'm sure.
Yeah. And I'm glad that
God forbid she has some passion.
Yeah, I'm glad in all of this that she is keeping cognizant of that and saying, like, let's keep it at 100. Let's keep it a buck. You're not
I
gonna
see the picture
betray
you're
me.
trying to paint.
Yeah, you're not gonna betray me in something I'm not.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she was in the, like, even when she's trying to appease him in a way, but she's still trying to keep it in reality.
Yeah. Because through all this, she's trying to wear all these different hats. She has to wear the hat of seeing, like, okay, what does this look like to America? Just me as a Black woman operating in this environment. How am I representing myself and representing the Black community as the only one on this cast? And then she's having to be in the marriage and be cognizant. Okay, I'm trying to be aware of him and how he's feeling, but I also can't ignore how I'm feeling, and I'm trying to navigate that.
And to manage your emotions while you're being in the midst of you being disrespected.
Yes.
But he is the one that's wrong.
I can't emphasize that enough, y'all. This is building.
I just want to keep pumping. I just want to keep pumping you up, pumping till you explode.
And so you're not about to have me on here acting a mess. So let's see. Okay, so she felt judged for being herself, and she felt like he was trying to say her intentions weren't pure. And he says, "Oh, I didn't question her intentions." And Dr. P was like, "Look, having sex 2 months ago does not impact her commitment now. Okay, relationship."
He literally questioned her intention in the bed the night before.
Yep.
He's like, I'm just wondering what your intention was when you signed up for this process. Something he said about it. He literally used the word intentions. So,
like, I'm like, is it just like he doesn't think before he speaks, or like, how are you?
I think part of it is he's so wrapped up in his own emotions in the moment that he's saying things, and I don't even think he like realizes what he says after he says them. He's just so caught up in his own emotions, his own issue, his own superiority, that I think he might even just be like, I don't even remember saying that, but I guess I did. I said that,
which is worse, because you're just talking out. What was that song, "Talking Out the Side of Your Neck"? You remember that song?
No,
we played it in band. It was a stand. It was a stand tune. It was like, bong, woo, bong, da da da, dun dun da da.
No, please keep
wow.
going. Please, I want the whole song.
No. Somebody out there in the Facebook group, let me know. You know what I'm talking about. It's like roughly like 2009-ish. So Dr. Pia says that, like, a relationship is like an emotional bank account. You got to put in deposits. You put in, all these good things. You don't want your bank account to go negative. When you make withdrawal, you got to still put in deposits. And he's like, there's been a lot of deposits, but this was just a really big withdrawal. He said he needs space so he can get his feet back on the floor. After they get off with Dr. Pia, he tells Lauren, he's like, I need space. I can get my feet back on the floor. I need to catch my breath.
Are you sure that Lauren isn't the one that said that? You sure you didn't get it wrong in your notes?
Right.
Oh, no, wait, I have it here too. He is the one that said that.
Mm-hmm.
He needs more space.
He needs to catch his breath after Dr. Pia just reassured him that what happened 2 months ago does not impact her commitment. Because he's like, okay, my plan is failing. Okay, I gotta regroup because I want out of this. No one knows why I do, only I know. But I want out of this, and what I'm doing right now is not working. So we gotta shift gears. We gotta figure out something else out.
It's like, me slut shaming her didn't make her want to leave. Damn, like what?
I even said I failed as a husband.
Yeah, that wasn't a good tact. I gotta make this about me, and find a way to make it look like it's her fault. What are we gonna do?
She's the bad guy, not me.
How do I make that a reality?
What was this? Okay. Well, let's finish. We only got 2 more scenes. So 51 minutes in. Don't worry, y'all. For real. We probably still will finish in like an hour and a half. Because those other couples. So there is a group dinner. Everybody's there. Oh, actually, there's not just 2 more scenes. There's more. I split it. Oh, no. Yeah, I mixed up. We have a few more. Sorry. So we have a group dinner with everybody. With Lauren and Orion, they are sharing that they were supposed to go to the beach today, but they ended up FaceTiming with Dr. Pia. Lauren was like, yeah, we've been giving each other a lot of space. She said it's been a roller coaster.
And she said lots of space. You can tell the look on her face was like so much space that it's weird.
Yeah.
And apparently, like on After Party, she was talking about this is like right before this dinner was the moment she found out that, he still had an issue with what she said.
Gotcha. So she said it's been like a roller coaster. Like she's just glad they're getting all the loops out now rather than later. But she does feel like she's gotten what she wanted out of this honeymoon. She wanted to know what made him tick, and she got there. So be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, for sure. This is a complicated ass clock in here. There's a whole bunch of gears. There's a whole bunch of right. I don't even know what this is. Like she's taking stuff out. Like this is supposed to be in a clock.
Right. She says that her tone. She has learned that her tone can dictate the flow of certain conversations, and she does apologize. In front of everybody. She's like, I've learned that sometimes my jokes don't land, and so I'm sorry for my joke. And she doesn't think that they're going to come back overnight or over a week, but that they can get there. And we get a confessional from him. He's like, the unintentional joke cut deep, and I can't stop thinking about it. Oh, so now that's your issue. A second ago, the issue was 2 months ago this happened, and now I don't know your commitment to the process. But now that you can't get yourself out of, you can't find any other angle to come at that. Now it's, oh, wait. I'm actually not over that comment.
It's just like we're going a whole issue earlier. Like we're not even talking about this sex thing anymore. We're talking about the first issue again, where you told her you were fine. You were going to get past it. You moved past it. You weren't thinking about it anymore. You were culling her. You were, all cuddled up with each other for like a few times after that. But it still cuts you very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's such a complicated topic. That's right, pepper and or cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
It's such a complicated topic because it could sound like we're saying, Orion, you're so get over your offendedness. Where that's like it's I don't want to be that person. I don't want to sound like I am that person because everyone has a right to be offended by what they're offended by. But it feels odd still. and it feels like he's like bringing this out of nowhere, but he's bringing this back up to kind of even the stakes a little bit. He's like, well, I did you wrong, but you remember when you did me wrong? That's still a thing. That still hurts. Like, don't forget that. And I don't want to tell anyone they should be offended by things. But like we said before, it would be great if he gave some context and gave some thought to what the situation was.
Yeah, because it would be different if the joke happened, which, yes, we talked about on the podcast. It was a very uncomfortable moment. It was like, whoa, okay. When she made the joke about his skin, and then she was immediately apologetic about it. She immediately understood when he explained the actual root of the word. She felt remorse. They talked about it at that point of just like how it offended him, how she was sorry. He had 2.5 hours out there walking around. They talked about it again. They said, they don't want to be minorities in their own home. They got to a point of like, okay, we have discussed that thing and we're going to try to move forward from here. They were on the boat. She was laying on his lap. But now all of a sudden, after another issue, you're like, wait, actually, I'm still mad.
It feels disingenuous because
because it would be different if she was like, I made a joke, get over it. Who cares if you're offended? That is the opposite of what he is acting as if she is acting as if she responded that way. He's acting as if she's like, I don't care what you're offended by. It was a joke. Lighten up.
I said it and I say it again. And like use the word again. Like if she like use the word again. It's like called him that 1,000 times. Like, how about this? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Like he's going about this as if that was the case. Like,
yep. And she showing more remorse, so much remorse, to the point where it's like, I am trying to make sure I'm trying to not double down, but triple down on the fact that I am sorry that I said that, and I understand why it offended you, and I will work to never use something like that again. But no, he wants to be like, I don't care what you said. He said he can't stop thinking about it. So he tells the group he wants to improve more on sharing his feelings, and she says she does want him to feel safe. He said like he reserves himself and he's trying to open a different door. It feels a little scary.
Not more doors.
I know. That's what I said. Oh my gosh.
But it was interesting in the confessional moment. He's like, yeah, I would love to be vulnerable with these people, but they won't get it. It's like, I mean, that is true. Like of all the stuff he's saying, like, yeah, these are 3 other.
So is that how he just approaches the world? No one will understand how I feel?
Probably. Unless it's a man of a different, of a different race,
So,
but it's true because it's like I got 3 other white couples. Like, who am I supposed to? Who am I supposed to go to?
Yeah, I mean, and him saying that, I was like, that's the least of my concerns. I don't care if you share with them or not. Like, you can't even share it with the only other minority on the cast who is married to you.
Yeah.
And so they wake up in bed. We found out that they were up until 3 a.m. last night. We get a selfie video from both of them explaining what happened. So he says he doesn't know if he can come back from her offensive comment. He said he felt like he was a minority in his own marriage. And on her side of it, she says she takes ownership for what she said and how it impacted the marriage. And she just doesn't know how to move on in a marriage when she doesn't feel married. Then we get like a far shot of Lauren in like one of those egg chairs in like the lobby of the resort with Claire. And Lauren is crying. She says she overheard Orion say that Lauren did not have his back. She said that Orion said, you attacked my community, my culture. And Claire was like, he's saying all the negative things. And then Lauren is like, she's so frustrated with not being understood. And she said that he told her he feels like she failed him and failed the marriage. Why is this his key word? Is that what he, like, before going into this, they were just make sure you don't fail your marriage. So he's saying, okay, I'm gonna put that on one of us.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to like his, therapy words that he keeps using over and over again. I just wonder if this is like, was he in a confessional and she walked into the confessional, was hearing this? Like, what did she talk about? She overheard this.
Unless he was on the, like, because we don't know when this conversation was with his sister. Maybe that was it.
Yeah. Like, my thought was like, she just asked, like, I left my shirt in here. There's like a tape of confessional there. He's like, yeah, she didn't have my, she's like, what? Like, guys, what if that was the situation? That would be so funny. We didn't have any cameras around for this. We can't put up these Nest cameras in the honeymoon suites either. Like, we catch any of that. Didn't catch none of it. Come on now.
She during this argument with him, she took off her ring. She said she wants a divorce. And we also found on the after party, he had taken his ring off before that. Like on a different occasion.
He's very, as with many other things, wishy-washy about this ring. Because he wasn't wearing an after party one week, then he's wearing it on the after party the next week. And in the show, he is wearing it, sometimes wearing it not. So I don't know what is up with this guy.
So this conversation with Lauren and Claire ends with Lauren saying she said, other than losing her mom, this is the most difficult thing she has ever done in her life. And so this was when I was just like, Lauren, please, just like, he is not worth it. He is putting her through so much emotional turmoil. There is literally nothing she can do. He has proven that.
He confirms it later.
Yes, that there's nothing she can apologize every minute of every day for the rest of their existence, and he's still, you don't understand. You don't know what you're talking about. So
if only you were a part of a minority class that could understand what I'm going through. If only.
So on after party, he said, Lauren says that Orion wanted to FaceTime Pastor Cal because as a Black man in America, Pastor Cal would be able to understand.
I love Lauren's thing was similar on after she's like, look at me. She's like, I'm a Black woman. I get it. And
I said, this is now pegged as something else.
Yeah, I think I think Orion has a problem with women, like just in general, because several times we've heard like he doesn't like to be bossed around by women. He needs to speak to a man, and we talked about the fact that he let Cameron slide on the reservation comment, but holds Lauren to a different standard, which we talked about, but that was a different thing. It just feels like he has something going on with women in particular that rubs him the wrong way.
Because he keeps talking about how his family is like built on a matriarch. So, you know how we be feeling like the patriarch? Well, not we, but, not we as in me, but sometimes you want to just stand against the patriarch, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and I feel like it's for him, it's like maybe it's that different thing where it's like, okay, the matriarch, like now I want to stand on my own 2 feet. I've been led by women for so long. Now I want to be the leader. I don't know what it is. It's something deeper than that, than Lauren can stress herself out trying to appease him.
And he goes back to his past so often to justify things about the present that have nothing to do with the current situation.
Yeah.
That that's also
felt
part
like
of
protecting his mom. You know what that sounds like? That means you need to be handling this outside of this marriage. You had no place. You questioning me being committed to this process? Why did you sign up?
You had no business doing this, because unless it went exactly the way that you wanted it to go, unless this person said exactly the right things to you, it was never going to work, because something would have been said, something would have been done to offend your very, very, very delicate sensibilities, apparently, and would have been over immediately. I think Rudy even says it on After Party that's the case. This would happen with anyone. It's he
Which
needs
is
to
very
get him.
true, and it's
He
going to
needs to get.
continue to happen.
Yeah, he needs to get himself together. You know, we have talked about before in the past these 20-something-year-olds signing up for this show. And I think Orion kind of slid past us because he portrays himself as a more mature person. But I think we're seeing now that that's definitely not the case.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
He may be one of the most immature people we've seen on this show.
Mm-hmm.
With this veneer of him being more mature than he is. But that's all it is. It's a veneer.
It's a facade of sorts. So Orion FaceTimes Pastor Cal. Pastor Cal, of course, is in his car. This man is never not in his car.
Pastor Cal's on the back nine, about to hit a birdie. And all of a sudden, oh, who the hell is calling my phone? Hello? I'm not supposed to be there for another 2 days. Why are you calling me?
He's like, they just can't enjoy Mexico.
Yeah. Get the new girl. You already called the new girl. What about Dr. Pepper? She don't answer her phone? Damn.
Not get the new girl.
Let me get in my hold on. Let me get in my car. Damn it. You know, he's probably I wonder who was in that passenger seat. His buddy he's golfing with probably like, why do we gotta be in this day? What's going on? Like, just hold on. I just gotta make a call, man. I just gotta make a call.
To be a fly on the wall in that car when Pastor Cal got off this phone.
And the way that he answered the phone, he looked like he was gonna make something. He was like, it's like these damn people are so neat. And like, oh, hey Orion, how are you? How are you doing, man?
Oh my goodness. Man. So Orion starts to explain. He says he was talking to Lauren. He brought up a derogatory term, and then she made a careless, crude joke.
Honestly, you would have thought that Lauren had, you know, just painted herself in, you know, red face and mimicked something in front of him. This careless, crude joke. Let's calm down now. I'm
like, can someone just like, at this point, I'm questioning what I saw. I was like, ooh. And then him explaining like, okay, but I'm sorry. Wasn't it 2 breaths before that? You admitted to using a very derogatory, I noticed
he left that part out when he was talking to Pastor Cal. Mm-hmm. I wonder why.
He had admitted he used to use a derogatory term, but now he knows it's wrong. How is that not any different than her not even knowing about the term, has never used it, made a joke in that moment that was insensitive, learned about it in that moment, and then understood it was wrong? That timing is way shorter than your use of the derogatory term to her culture. Mm-hmm. But I forgot. There's only he's operating under one culture in this relationship.
Yep.
So he says she made a careless, crude joke. Pastor Cal was like, well, did she ever say like that it was wrong? He's like, well, after emotions settled, she explained herself. It was
2 minutes after he had explained to her that she immediately, there were no calming of emotion. From her side, emotions never even got tense.
Yes.
It's crazy how he's spinning this right now.
Mm-hmm. So he said the weight of the joke sat with him, and he started feeling more offended and violated. Man. And so then Pastor Cal was like, look, I understand of all people. She understands of all people. Mm-hmm. Like, we get it. He's like, did she apologize? He says, yes. He said, but it's hard to accept her. And so Pastor Cal was like, did you accept it? He's like, well,
you know, because he doesn't want to tell Pastor Cal, yes, he accepted it. And then he rescinded it.
And then he went back. Yeah, exactly. He said, it's hard to accept because like we got into it today and she said she wanted a divorce. She took her ring off. She said she wasn't attracted.
That has nothing to do with the apology. I don't understand. I don't understand where the two things connect. this current thing and what you're talking about do not connect, sir. It has
He
nothing
said,
to do
I'm
with her
gonna make him
apology
connect.
and accepting her apology in that moment. Get out of here, man.
He said,
Get off my TV.
Pastor Cal was like, that's just like a knee-jerk reaction to pain. Okay. And then Orion, he's like, right now, like, you know, I can tell she cares a lot about me and we've built a great connection. Notice how he didn't say anything about how he feels about her. He's like, I know she cares a lot about me.
True.
Period. That he didn't say anything about how he feels about her. And Pastor Cal said, like, so you haven't gotten a chance to express how you feel. Orion, truly.
Has he not?
You said you were fine.
I feel like we get it. I feel like she gets it. I feel like we at home get it. I feel like you express yourself a few different times about how this made you feel. So I don't understand what else needs to be expressed. Because I feel like what he tells us later, I already understood. I already knew.
I was like, this is not new information. So then Pastor Cal wants to talk to Lauren by himself. This is the final scene, you guys. So Lauren goes to talk to Pastor Cal by herself. And she asked him, she tells him, like, look, I asked him if we were good after that conversation we had in the hot tub. And he said he was fine. The next thing I know, he wasn't fine. And she said, then I overheard him saying I didn't have his back. And she's all of this she's saying is while crying. She starts crying some more. She said she failed him and failed the marriage. And she's like, look, I take ownership of not doing everything right. I know I was yelling last night. I took off my ring. I said I wanted a divorce. I know that was wrong. I know all of that was wrong. I'm not a perfect person, but I know it was wrong. And I can acknowledge that and take ownership of that. And so she's like, it's not that she's not trying. And Pastor Cal is just, he's just
he's pissed. He's annoyed. He's looking off camera. He's like, why are these people doing this to me?
He's just like, ooh.
I was trying to enjoy my couple of days before I gotta talk to these people, and they want to get at me early. What is this? And I love how he's like talking to the producers, like, not even talking along. He's like, can we get them both in here?
Right.
Like, get them both in here. Come on, let's get this done.
Can you get so and so? And then Pastor Cal was like, well, look, do you want a divorce? She's like, no. I was letting my passion override the goal of the marriage. He's like, y'all haven't talked in an emotional, vulnerable extent. Like, this is too heavy.
That's all they've been doing, Pastor Cal. Like, I wish Pastor Cal could be here and see what we see. They do nothing but that.
Yes. He said, look, this is too heavy for this phase in your marriage. They have not known each other a week. And so Pastor Cal said every successful couple has to fight through imperfection. And so at this point, he has called Orion back in. So now it's both of them. Pastor Cal said she gave him grace and he's not giving. She was like, so he's like, what you're telling me, Lauren, is that you gave him grace and he's not giving you any.
Preach it, Pastor Cal. Preach it. Say it louder. Say it out loud. It's
like, this is what Orion heard. Pastor Cal's like, so Lauren, you said that he didn't hear any of it. Because it's like,
it might as well have been a wah 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 wah. You heard Orion. Wah 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 wah. He's like, yep, that's right. She heard me.
Right. Because I'm like, there's no way you could hear any part of this and be like, I'm right.
Yeah.
So Pastor Cal, so then Lauren was like, look, that's where it hurt. That's where most of the hurt is coming from. Because he keeps saying that I don't get it. And he's like, he says, I still haven't been able to say how I felt. And Pastor Cal was like, well, go ahead and say it.
Go ahead and talk, boy. Go ahead and talk.
Get off your chest. And so he says he not only feels offended by her, like she not only offended him, but she violated his culture and offended his family. He has a whole community he has to go back to, his mom included, and everyone around the world, and it affects all of us. And that's where he feels she doesn't get it. As a Black woman, I am, oh my God.
If only you knew how it felt to be offended. If only you ever had the the instance where you felt any sort of offense, if you were only marginalized, felt the ounce of what I feel, you would understand.
He's like, do you even know what racism is?
Do you even racism, bro?
Oh my God.
But
The
this is
the
where I wonder,
reason
like,
this
this is where I wonder if he has to be so forthright, if he wants to be like, I don't know, some icon in his community, like, I stood for what was right. Don't ever forget, I went on Lifetime and I stood my ground against racism. Like, sir, no one even watches the show.
we watch for our listeners.
Yeah, exactly. Some of y'all don't even watch the show, you just watch us.
Y'all, the reason this, if you listen audio only, if you've never seen this podcast and you have no idea, but as a Black woman myself, hearing this from him, as if she has him explaining this and not being able
He
to just,
mansplains racisms to her.
he absolutely does. And to not even be able to open his eyes and just look who you're talking to think that you didn't just explain her entire life existence. You just you're explaining these words as if she has no, me saying all this, that's why you don't know.
A Black woman who lives in Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. The show had to call out the lack of Black men in Denver to explain why they decided to put Lauren in an interracial marriage.
Because that one Black guy they talked to, there was something wrong with him.
He had a bunch of cats.
Yeah, there's something wrong with him.
Like, nothing's wrong with a bunch of cats, guys. I'm just saying that's all we learned about him.
Yeah.
But the rage, the internal rage I felt of just like him saying this, I said, oh, he'll never get it. Like, if you're in an interracial relationship, you have to be able to be open. You have to be able to be open-minded and understand we're going to be learning from each other. And when I'm speaking about things, you could be learning from me. I also have to be aware of what you go through.
Yeah.
He thinks learning what a bonnet is learning Black culture. But you think that you have to explain representing a community? And
it kind of weird. It did weird me out a couple episodes ago. He's like, "Can I watch you lay your edges down?
Can I watch you put your edges down?"
Okay, can I watch you put your edges
down?
No,
that's incorrect. That's what he said.
Yeah, that's what, like, and it almost felt like he was, I don't know, fetishizing her in a way. That makes any sense? It's terrible. It's crazy. It's weird.
And that's not even the end of it. But that moment right there was when a fire was lit inside of me. And I was like, this man will never understand if he doesn't think that she understands that. Oh my God.
There's that pre-show fire. Let it out.
Like, if Pastor Cal was there, he would like, what? I'm telling you, to be a fly on the wall when Pastor Cal got off that phone. Okay, so he thinks that's why she doesn't get it, because he's standing for something bigger than himself. As if that's not what she's been having to do for the past 7 episodes. Okay. And that's what makes it so frustrating. It's like, you think we want to be sitting here, like Jason just said, you think we want to be sitting here talking about you being offended by something that offended you personally? No, we don't.
Nope.
But the fact that now that she has apologized, you're the one, you just decide, okay, I'm going to just take this as far as I can take it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make people forget how offended I was in the moment.
And he also wants to make them forget that he slut shamed her the night before. Mm-hmm. That's also what part of this is. I think is my my guess, because listen, I cannot tell you what he was thinking. I cannot tell you what he was feeling. I am not him. Okay. I'm not. But I feel like that's part of what this is. Like, ooh, I messed up big time. Let me backtrack. And I think part of this is also him trying to get his exit ramp off the relationship and to
Just
make it her fault.
leave. Why do you have to be you at this? Yeah, the gaslighting can go. The emotional manipulation can go, right? Like, what is the point of doing to save your own face, to save your image?
Save his
That's
ego.
done.
Yeah.
You
He wants.
you've said what you've said. That's there. That's recorded. I don't think he knows how cameras work. They're producing a show. They're going to show what you said. They're going to show how you said it,
But
when you said it.
he thinks if he tells us and Lauren enough times that's not what he said, that we will believe him. But that's not how that works.
Oh. So she tells him, after he says that's why he feels she don't get it. She tells him, she has told him multiple times that she understands the depths. She has not only been researching that, but she has been researching the positives too. She has been researching everything she can about his culture so that she can be up to speed and learn. She says she is basically consuming anything that Google will tell her. What's he looked up?
Nothing. How can I be more offended?
Right. And so he's like, well, I respect it. I appreciate it. And Pastor Cal was like, is that not enough? He says, unfortunately.
Yeah. The way he's just like, yeah, I just can't get past it. It's over. Like,
He said, I just can't get past what was said. And Pastor Cal was like, okay, are you saying you cannot forgive her? He said,
well, let me tell you a story of why I can't forgive her.
He said, the first time I experienced racism was within my own culture, being called an apple because I was red on the outside and white on the inside. The second time I experienced racism to that extent, it was a crude joke from her. And then looks at her. I was like, what?
This one.
What Oscar are you trying to win right now? Like, what is... So this, y'all, this is the second time in your life that you've experienced this thing that you're trying to preach to Lauren about, the second time. You know why? Lauren can't sit here and tell you, oh, once and then twice and then, oh, the third time it happened in my life. Because she probably cannot count. I cannot count how many times I've experienced microaggressions literally in this world, blatant forms of racism, subtle racism. It comes in so many flavors and so many fashions. You learn to just grow a thick skin, and you learn how you're going to navigate life, how you were born, how you are viewed as to the world. You learn as a Black woman, Lauren has had to learn how to do that. I'm not saying, oh, Ryan, you should have thick skin. This is only the second time. But to try to make it this grand thing that this is the second time it's happened by the hands of my own wife who doesn't understand. Of anyone
that y'all put me with.
Of anyone on this cast, in this crew, in the whole production of Married at First Sight, why would Lauren be the last person to understand the depths of that? Because you are so consumed in you to even just open one eye. If he just peeked and looked at her, he'd be like, wait, I'm sorry. You probably can. But because of who you are. Like, it's not like, I'm sorry. Like, that's when I was through with him. The second time.
One, two. I can count on one hand. There ain't
This
enough hands
is
in the world
second
for Lauren to count on.
The second time. You don't get it, Lauren, because you were the second person ever in my life. You don't get it. So Lauren is furious as I am. She gets up, way more furious than I am. She gets up, she's crying. She's like, I just need a minute, right? She comes back, she's like, it doesn't matter what I say. I literally could write a 50-page essay about this, present it to the USA, and there's nothing more I can do. And he says, I just can't move past this.
It's so ingrained in me. I just can't do it. Cal is at this point like, Cal's all the way on. He came into this probably like, okay, what's going on? Like, oh, Lauren did something bad. What's going on, Lauren? At this point, he's like, boy, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you? He tries to like appeal to him, like, listen, to forgive, to err is human, to forgive is divine. Or I
was like, Pastor Cal, you're losing them.
I was like, nope, can't do it. And he's a little indignant in the way he says this. Like, nope, can't do it. Really just kind of unfeeling.
He's like, it's out of my hands. There's nothing I could do.
It's above me.
It's above me now. You know what? They got him misconstrued. When he said he was open to an interracial relationship, clearly he has never dated someone that looks like Lauren. I think we can all agree on that, because there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
No way.
There's no way.
None.
Because you would have learned something. Okay? So he said, he was like, I'm open. And he should have added the caveat that as long as they're open to learning about my culture, it can work. He has never been open about learning about her culture.
I think he's been open in a way of like, oh, can I watch you do this? Or
that ain't open. That's fake open.
That's fake. That's superficial open. He's never asked about the hurt. He's never asked about what she suffers through in her everyday life.
Have you experienced something? Have you dealt with that? Like,
Right. And, so and it's I don't even know if it's that for him. I just think he's so into himself. He's so worried about him and his culture and how he's treated that he can't see past it. He can't see the other person. He can't see that there's another person there that maybe has definitely gone through the same things he has gone through more than twice. He cannot get past himself to see that.
Yep. So yeah, next week we get a the next time on they
before you do, I just want to, like, Pastor Kyle's like, but have you tried to consummate the marriage? Did you try that to fix it? If you did, can you give me more details about it?
He did not say that.
Slowly and in great detail. Don't leave anything out. Please.
Oh my goodness.
Did you do it? I think that would help solve a lot of problems, y'all. I'm surprised he didn't, though. Creepy Uncle Pastor Cal.
Creepy Uncle Dad Pastor Cal. Yeah, so next time on, we do get them having a sit down with Dr. Pia. And she's like, okay, basically it's like their decision day, asking, do they want to get divorced? And I hope that Lauren says yes.
But there's so many things going through. I think this could be the second season in a row that we get this type of thing, because I think this is what's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. They decide here to get a divorce, and it was oddly positioned to Lauren. Like, it was almost as if they were asking Lauren herself, do you want to get a divorce? Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if Orion was like, well, I'm willing to, try and work this out, to really kind of put it back.
But I'm not going to let it go, but I'm willing to make it work.
Yeah, and he wants to, like, put it back on her to make the decision, because he doesn't want to be seen as the one, breaking up the marriage. He's like, well, I can try to get past it. I don't know if I can, but I'm willing to stick it out. He wants to put it on her to be like, nope, this ain't gonna work. Bye. I think that's probably something that may be happening, but in the same spot as we were last year, right? Mm-hmm. Probably the get together of all the couples post moving in. They're gonna have to come and tell their friends, like, yeah, we're getting divorced. Like,
and be like, what happened? Yeah. There's gonna be like, I knew it.
I got the tea. Come see me later if you want to know.
Right. I'm trying to see exactly when for season 16 we had, because it was Mac and Dom. Their last episode
right as
8.
They were moving in. Yeah,
it was episode 8. Yep. So this is about the same time, same exact time.
That'll be interesting. So
Episode 8 is the cutoff.
it's gotta be over, right? Like there's no
Please.
coming back from this. This has to be it.
I hope it is.
I'm surprised it didn't end it right there in the because what do we leave off on? She leaves again, and he just sits there looking like a doofus. I'm surprised it wasn't over at that moment, but I guess we got to get it official.
1 to 5, 1 being we think they won't be together by the reunion.
Negative 8.
Be.
Negative 8. Do you like where are you putting? We talked a little bit about this pre-show. Where are you putting Orion in your worst husband rankings?
Top tier for sure. Like if we're thinking the worst husbands of MAFS, if we could select maybe 8. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's not like maybe there aren't 10. There probably are, but let's say 8.
If we really thought about it, we probably
we could put some people on that list.
Yeah.
I think obviously Chris is the worst of all time. Mm-hmm. And pre-show, we were talking about, you were thinking that probably second on that list is Johnny from the Houston season. I think Orion is a close third, and I think there's an argument that could be made for why Orion could overtake Johnny.
Okay.
I think the difference is the length of time Johnny had to do his damage.
Yeah.
Whereas Orion is just, he didn't start showing himself until a couple episodes ago.
If I start this in tiers, right? I think that Chris and Johnny are in a tier, in the top tier by themselves. In that second tier, I, like you, put Orion third at this point.
Okay.
Now, and then Luke. Luke is in the same tier with Orion.
Well, okay. And then probably next Matt from Charlotte.
Man, I forgot about him. Shoot. Because that dude, he was cheating. He was cheating during the marriage, like unabashedly cheating, out in public cheating. Had this woman's friends and coworkers telling her that he was cheating on her during the marriage.
And then we still have Zach during season 10, who wouldn't even move in with Mindy.
Yo,
I'm telling you, still though, this has been nonsense, and obviously could be recency bias, but Orion is up there.
I think it's recency bias. I think once we have some time away from the season, even maybe by the end of the season, because we'll have some time away from Orion at that point, we may be able to look at it a different lens. But at the moment, I'm willing to put him third because of the way that he's so oblivious, immature, unfeeling in this moment. To see this woman crying several times because of things you've said and done, about her.
What's happening? Why can't we talk about it? Let's talk about it. You want quiet, but let's talk about it.
I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna push your buttons, even though you want to be quiet, and push you to possibly get outraged in this moment.
Yeah, he's like, I want to argue. He basically is saying he wants to argue.
I kind of
he wants it to blow up.
I kind of put Matt third and make Orion fourth because Matt was really despicable.
He was. So
let's make Orion fourth. Luke is under Orion just barely to me.
Barely.
Yeah, let's.
All right.
Oof. But he's definitely.
We have done something we've never done and spent an hour and a half on one couple.
Yeah, let's blow through these.
But when I tell you, there literally is, we're gonna blow through these last two. They spent the episode on Lauren and Orion. So who do you want to talk about next?
Claire and Cameron. So we find them waking up in the morning, and we find out that Cameron did not sleep at all because he has some sort of ear issue. He dove down to the depths of the sea in Cancun and heard something pop in his ear, and ever since then it's been killing him. He's been in excruciating pain. He can't sleep, so he has to go to the resort doctor. So and Claire's like, sucks to be you, but I got something to do, so you can handle that.
She has a mandatory meeting.
I mean, so I'm assuming this has something to do with her schooling, with her, whatever, with her.
Because I'm like, where's sick time?
I don't know. But she has a mandatory meeting. She's like, sucks to be you. Go on your own. Don't care. In a confessional, she does say, this she feels better about the honeymoon because there's more intimacy, meaning that she's allowing Cameron to touch her skin. That's what more intimacy means. So that's what's happening. He's like touching her skin, like, ooh, I can touch your leg now. This is so great. That's what more intimacy means. They talk about how hard it's going to be to change her routines because she's so independent and all that stuff. He says it's fine, we'll figure it out. He says in a confessional he has trustful relationships that he's dreaded coming home because it only makes things, there are more problems at home than they are at work. But he wants to find a partner where he can feel his problems fade away when he walks in the door to his wife. And he feels like Claire could be that person. If you say so, buddy. If you say
maybe.
So. I
feel like the real Claire they'll show once she gets, this may be the real Claire, but when she gets back to Denver, we'll really get to see how she is settled in.
Yeah. So we find them going to go visit the resort doctor. I say, there's a resort doctor. Did anyone tell Emily? Did anyone let Emily know there's a resort doctor that may be able to help her with her sprayed wrist to provide her with some sort of bandage or splint or something to help her out?
That was a secret.
Yeah. They go to the resort doctor, but of course, the resort doctor is a resort doctor, so he's not going to be able to really help you with your ear, buddy. He's going to send you to the real doctor down in Cancun. And he's like, yep, I got to go to the real doctor in Cancun. See you later. He takes off. And she's like, all right, well, see you later. Let me know how that goes. She at least went with him to the resort doctor. Give her a little bit of credit for that. But she does say, yep, you're going to go on your own. Right after that, we find her on a confessional cam where she's in the hotel room. She's like, yep, first time being in the hotel room without Cam. And she's like, sits down. She's like, it's like she can finally breathe for the first time in 7 days.
Like, I can let loose and be myself.
Like, she's like undid her pants. It's like, just let it go. Like, she's like, Cam's been fun and all, but it's fun. It's good to have a moment to just breathe. She's like, I hope his ear gets better, but I'm just going to chill here for a while. We get the group dinner, and she's explaining to the other couples about Cameron's situation. He's got something with his ear. Hopefully he shows up. Hopefully he didn't run off. And then, wouldn't you know it, Cameron pops up with like a rose bush full of roses. Like you could plant this in front of your house and be like a shrub.
Literally
cut. You could barely see his face, behind the rose shrub.
It was a really sweet gesture, I will say.
It was. So he comes, gives her the rose bush. And what does she do? She gets up. She's, oh, that's so nice of you. You're the bomb. Gives him a side hug. Like a side hug. Like you would give a friend. Like I would give Aysha a side hug.
When you were like, oh.
Hey. That's it. I was like, where's the kiss? Give me where's Sebastian?
Thought he was like I think he was like taking her lead because it looked like he was open to a kiss.
Yeah, where's Sebastian from Little Mermaid? Kissy girl. Okay, enough of that. But this is the perfect time. The perfect time for more affection to grow and blossom. She's like, nope, thanks, buddy. All right, cool. So she's like, this is so sweet. And he tells her, I wanted to, we've had so much issues with affection. I want to go back to basics and, do this for you. In a joint confession, she says, this meant so much to her. The fact that he had such a hard day and he went out of his way to get her flowers. It's so great. Find out Cameron's ear is going to be fine. He's got some antibiotics, so that should hopefully fix it.
He's good.
And they talk about how they're going to be able to try to transition from just a friendship into more of a romantic relationship when they get back to Denver. She says she needs to focus on waiting before she responds to things because sometimes she can react in the moment without thinking. She really needs to chill. I would agree with that. I think that's good. Good recognition on her part. Queen. Yeah. We go to the next morning. She asks him, but it's like, I feel a little better. You know what I mean? A little better. He says it's not really painful anymore. It's just more uncomfortable. they bring up the fact they're about to be traveling again back to the U.S. She's like, the first time didn't really go so well. She's like, yeah, I didn't really understand you and why you were kind of speeding in front of me. There was no communication. I didn't know what to think. He's like, well, it's like not like I was running away or anything. Like you knew where I was going to be.
Like, no, that's how it felt.
He approaches this as like, it's like, yeah, you were so kooky for being weird about that. No, Cameron, that was weird.
You're right.
Why did you run away from her? Like, why did you leave her in the dust? That it's like he kind of makes her think like, yeah, you were crazy for that. Like, you're so ridiculous. And she kind of buys that. She's like, yeah, I was just being crazy. Like, no, I think we all thought
that
not
happen again because that's all she's gonna talk about.
Yeah. They talk about, she says, oh, I can't wait to get back to my routine. He's like, well, listen, we have to come up with a new routine since we're meshing our lives together. Yeah, cool. That's Cameron and Claire. That's them.
Yeah, don't look for it. Yeah.
I think that's a record time of going through a couple.
It was like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
They didn't even get anything on the next time on, right? I didn't get any notes besides them moving in.
Yeah.
They didn't have any points of conflict.
Yeah, that's weird. They had that something. There's nothing noteworthy.
Yeah. So yeah, let's rate them.
Was I at 3 last week?
2. We were both at 2s.
We were both at 2s. Yeah, I'll keep them at 2. I don't see anything. I don't see really any reason to up them.
Me either. And I feel like he wants it. I think the barrier is her.
He's talking about the fact that he thinks she can be the one that solves all his problems. The problems will melt away. I think he's down. I think he's definitely down for it, but I have not heard a lot of words from her side in that same vein that she's really into this.
Yeah. She's like, that's my pal.
Thanks, bud.
That is my buddy.
Such a good friend.
Yeah. Hey, bro. She's gonna start calling him bro in a second. All right. Well, next, let's talk about a couple who had a very minuscule issue this episode, but we can talk about it.
They wanted to definitely make it seem like it was way bigger than that.
Yes. So we have Emily and Brennan. So they're at dinner, and she asked him if he's feeling fine after the boat. He said they had a nice talk about where they've been and where they're headed. And she says now, like, they should move forward into the next phase of conversation. Just like, oh, is their face, like, right now is favorite color, but next.
We're out of surface level. We're getting deeper. We're getting there.
She says she was raised like Catholic, but fake Catholic. He was raised Jewish. She's open to converting because she doesn't want her kids to be Catholic because she felt her opinion is like, she said she feels like it's a little like culty. And so he says it's so refreshing to hear how open she is. She asked him about kids. They both want 2. She's like, you want both boys? Are we not past the age where people ask, like, what do you want? We don't have a choice.
I mean, you can express your desires. I think I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I just felt
like you would prefer.
It just felt like a middle school conversation. Yeah, I'm gonna have 2 girls, and then I'm gonna have a set of twins.
Will you make one of those? What they call those things?
the dream
fortune
catcher.
tellers. Yeah, dream catchers. Give me a color.
And then MASH, I'm gonna have a red car. I'm gonna have a condo. I'm gonna have 2 boys.
But like, and the thing was like, I want a boy and a girl. What about you? He's like, yeah, I want a boy and a girl. She's like, oh my god, that's so crazy. You both want the same thing. Like, that's the most, the most basic thing anyone ever wants. They just want one boy and one girl. That's the thing.
Yeah, I had a 33% chance.
Like, how original?
The same answer.
You're so unique. You're so special.
He wants the kids to be 3 years apart, to give them some time. He's like, but the biggest question: what are we gonna do on football Sunday? She's like, I am a Broncos fan. He's willing to convert. They joke about it.
So, with all the Lauren and Ryan stuff, this was probably my most enraged moment of the episode. Okay. Because if you are this easy to switch your alliance your allegiance, I should say, you are not a real football fan.
Yeah, she said if they move to a different state, then they'll just become a fan of that team.
I wonder if she's originally from Cincinnati because he mentioned the Bengals. Like, is it gonna be Jets and Bills or Bengals? He says Jets/Bills. He's not a real football fan. He doesn't. He's from New York, but he can't pick between Jets and Bills. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. I'm done with you.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I've always known that the Jets and the Giants play at the same stadium.
The Bills are in Buffalo, which is in New York. So it's a New York
Oh, it's
team.
like north.
Yes.
Okay.
People don't think of it as a New York team, but it's a New York
me
team.
neither.
People think of the Jets and
Me
Giants.
and people, we don't.
Yeah, you and all those other people. I wonder why he hates the Giants so much. He didn't, mention them, but whatever. The fact that he says either Jets or Bills and has no preference tells me he's a fake fan and he's not a real football fan. Get out of my face.
And he's
Brennan.
willing to convert.
He's willing to convert to the Broncos, the freaking Broncos. You realize when they were taping this, I don't know when they were taping this. I don't know what time of year it was, but no matter when it was, the Broncos sucked last year. They
last
sucked this
winter,
year.
at least, with all that snow.
So get the heck out of here, Brennan. Can't stand you.
He does say his mom says if they agree on everything, how they challenge each other, and she's like, I think you'll challenge me. Then they have some dates. They play basketball, ping pong, and throw a ball, and she had like one drink in her hand while they were playing basketball.
They're still rocking with that broken hand.
Right. Then they sit down and she asks him, she's like, do you know how to she says, do you know how to have fun? He's like, yes. So why did you ask me that? Like, do I like to have fun?
None of this made sense.
Yeah. So she said, does he know how to have fun? He heard, do you like to have fun? He's like, why would you ask? She's like, I was joking. I just thought you'd be more competitive. He's like, well, like, do you think I only like winning? Like, I think we're both having fun together, so I don't care who wins.
Listen, does anyone else like me remember Nate and Sheila?
Yes.
When on their honeymoon,
basketball.
Was it? I think might have been ping pong.
Oh, it was ping pong.
That she boasted about beating him at ping pong, and he got so butthurt that he was aggressively trying to beat her at ping pong later and got really crazy about it. She's lucky she doesn't have that. Okay, take your Brennan, take your milk toast, your normal Brennan, and be happy. Okay, you can have a Nate.
Yes. And so then they're off to the side and he repeats the question. He's like, do I like to have fun? And she's like,
what question is that?
She's like, well, don't get mad. He's like, trust me, you'll know when I'm mad. Like, the only people who've ever made me mad are my parents.
I said, oh, I started getting worried
about that.
I started getting worried. I was like, I think we might see a very dark side of Brendan coming pretty soon. This is weird. And as Rudy points out, like he didn't seem to know he was on camera at this point,
right?
Because he is very he does have a little attitude that we don't usually hear when the cameras are on him. He had like some inflection in his voice, which we don't usually hear. What kind of effing question is that? Like, okay, Brendan,
I'm fun.
You just see a cameraman like in the bushes, like, yeah, got him.
They forgot to take their mics off.
Yeah, dummies. Don't forget about the hot mics.
Then
from the person that bought you Alyssa's tantrum that when she didn't know she was on camera brings you Brendan's attitude.
Exactly. Then at the group dinner, he said the honeymoon's gone way better than expected. She said sometimes she's too sarcastic, so she'll be more aware of the effects it has on them together. And that was it.
Yeah. That's Emily and Brennan.
Next week though.
Next week's interesting.
He said like, oh, like why don't we give it some time before we move into our new place?
Ooh.
And so she said in a confessional she feels something is off. And then we get a conversation of them on the couch where she's like, I want you to tell she wants him to tell her if he's attracted to her.
And they I just can't do it. Which isn't
right.
Part of that same conversation. But it looks like we might actually get something interesting out of these two, which, is going to be a welcome change.
Because look, we said they were just having a jolly old time in Mexico. You can do that with anybody. You can you make a friend. Y'all can have a good couple days. But I think it's settling in that like, wait, this is my husband, and we are not getting any deeper.
Nope.
What's happening?
Can't wait. Gonna be interesting.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being we don't think they'll be together by the reunion, 5 being we do think they'll be together. What are you thinking? Last week we were both a 3.
I mean, 3, sure.
Same.
Why not?
Why not? Be any reason for any movement.
No.
Next week might be like a 2 possibility.
Going down.
Yeah.
So let's see.
So last but certainly not least.
Well, I don't know. Maybe least. Becca and
they were our best couple.
They are, but just in terms of entertainment,
the competition's low.
Yeah. So they're having breakfast. They're being all schmoopy as usual. They're joking around, and then I'm sure, forced by production to ask this question. He says, "So is there anything specific?" Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Is there anything specific you want to talk about? Because production made me ask you if there's anything you want to talk about, like deeper. She says, yes, I want to talk about religion. He's like, religion? I don't know what that is. And she gives him this look like, be serious. This is a serious conversation.
Answer my question.
He says, okay, yeah, but I don't want to talk about it now. He does not want to talk about religion right now. And then confessional, she says, it kind of stings trying to connect to someone, but you keep getting rejected when you try to talk about deeper topics. He says, yeah, it's early and I just don't want to scare you off yet. I was like, what religion is this, man? Is he a Satanist?
Like, is this another joke or should I be concerned?
Like, you ever heard of Footless Joe? I worship at his altar. I give him 90% of my earnings and of my spouse's earnings. Like, are we gonna hear something like that? Like, what do you have to hide?
Have you heard of escaping twin flame?
Yes, yeah. I understand not wanting to get too deep into things, but to keep it like a secret. This is what this feels like. This was to not even tell her what religion you are.
Yeah, it only makes her more concerned.
Yeah,
to be like, wait, what are we not talking? Like, what? There has to be a reason for you to delay it, because you're not going to delay just like, oh yeah, I have one brother. Like, you're delaying it because you feel like it's going to be a conversation. I have explained my whole medical situation to you. Like, we've had deeper conversations or like vulnerable conversations. So then it feels a little odd.
For sure. So he can obviously tell something is off, because later on they're sitting on the beach and he says, listen, I want to clear something up. He says, I know that you have had boyfriends in the past that were avoidant, and I want you to know that that's not what I'm trying to be. She tells him, like, listen, I have had relationships where I've rushed into heavy topics, but she does know that they have differences in religion. He says, because he tells her, listen, I'm just a plain old Christian. That's it. Nothing crazy. I wonder if, like, the fact that she had him like step on the glass, like, let him know, like, oh, she's Jewish. This might be a problem. Let me not, bring this up.
I don't know.
But she does sound like, listen, I was raised Jewish, but I'm actually agnostic. And, she talks about how, before in different relationships, those type of differences, like religion, would cause her anxiety, but she doesn't actually feel that with him. And he does talk about his faith. He says, yeah, I'm plain old Christian, but my parents did have opposing views on faith. But I think that's a positive for us because I was able to see how they maneuvered through their relationship. She says, well, listen, I have core things to build a foundation, and it hasn't worked. I've used those things to build a foundation before and it never worked, but it feels better now that we're building a foundation built on different, like, smaller things to help us really deal with the bigger topics when they come up later. It's only going to make us better, she says. Okay. That's a very mature and reasoned way to go about this. Also boring. Okay. At the group dinner, she just is effusive praise about how great the honeymoon has been. She didn't expect to get what she got out of it. So much relief, and from all she's gone through, and a happy distraction from all she's gone through in the last few months with her health. She's so happy she got someone like Austin, who's like a weird little puppy. Austin, who at this dinner went hatless, and again, like, okay, I understand, Austin, why you have the hat on. Like, I don't know what, I just don't know if he doesn't know what to do with his hair or what's going on. But anytime it's out there, it's just all over the place. And Austin does tell the group about their approach of because he hears Lauren talk about how they've gotten such heavy topics and it's affected them. And Austin's like, well, we just decided not to talk about any of that stuff until later. Yeah, sucks to be y'all, but we're having fun here, okay? We're not crying talking to the experts, okay?
Right.
So they wake up the next morning.
We haven't even met Dr. Pia.
Don't even know who that is. They wake up the next morning. They both say, "Oh, not ready to leave. We don't want to go back." She brings up they move in. She asks him if he's nervous. He says, "No, let's be fine. As long as you're not as messy as you are here, we should be okay."
Yeah.
In a confessional, she says she really wants him to keep being authentic and to show all the sides of him, good, bad, or whatever. She wants to know the real him. He brings up, we're smushing our lives together. He asks him, how do you think it's going to go? She says, it's going to be a learning curve, but we'll tackle them one by one when they come up, and we'll deal with any hurdles. I just need you to keep showing up for me, good or bad, or I want to know how to show up for you, good or bad. He says, oh, that's nice. She gives him he's like, yeah, oh yeah, me too, ditto, yeah, for sure. I will also do that. I look forward to doing that. And he's just unsure of what that all entails, but he's not fearful. He just knows that she needs to be well fed, well rested. And then she's like, okay, enough with the ha-has. She's like, how are you going to show up for me emotionally? He says, well, I don't know, by like going deeper, I guess. And she gives us like, you're being too jokey. Be serious. He's like, no, for real. Like, I'm going to do it.
I'm like, is this going to be a problem for them?
Yeah, he's like, no, for real. I want to show up for you. I want to be there for you. I just don't know what it looks like yet, but I'm excited to do it. And apparently that answer was the right answer because she gives him a kiss and like, they high five. Yeah. Austin and Becca. There you go.
We did it.
Yeah.
Less than 2 hours.
Spent what 75% of the podcast talking about one couple. Crazy.
As we should have.
Yeah, as was warranted. I'm really glad that you are the one that talked about them because you really were able to really give it the perspective,
the attention it needed,
the fire. Yeah.
Thanks. Well, Becca and Austin, what would you? We've been at a 5 with them.
Oh yeah, 5, sure.
Me too. I wonder now that we've seen like this, like her trying to get a little bit more serious with them because he handled her being serious on her own stuff fine. But I wonder, is it like, can he be vulnerable with his feelings?
And I do think the preview is trying to get us because she talks to whoever they talk to, maybe Pastor Carol, I don't know. She's talking about the fact that she's never met a Christian who hasn't tried to change
her mind about something.
Yeah, but I think she'll be like, but he doesn't. He doesn't care.
I don't get that with him.
Yeah. But the Claire and Karen thing, I do remember they see a picture of him on top of like a mountain with a bike, and she's like, I didn't know you did something like that. He's like, well, if only you had asked. That was them. Yeah. And I forgot what else Becca and Austin like, yeah, we differ on religions, but we talked about it. But I think, again, it's going to be like, yeah, we talked about it, but we came to an understanding or something.
Yeah. So those are our 4 couples. Still no sign of Michael. Maybe we'll see him when we get back to Denver. But I doubt at this point, especially because they've been able to fill an hour and a half with the 4 couples. But if we go down to 3, and those are the 3.
Please not stick us with these 3. Oh.
That's how they try to bring Michael back, probably.
I need some drama. Come on now.
They're like, Michael, would you be... We have someone. Her name is Lauren. Would you be willing to date her?
Give me something, y'all. Give me something.
Can y'all be friends and like hang out? We'll follow y'all around.
I don't know if I can stick with these 3 couples if it's only 3.
Really? So yeah, that is it for our coverage of episode 7. It was an episode, to say the least.
It was a doozy. It was a doozy.
We did it and we got through it. And I'm very curious to see y'all's thoughts on YouTube and in the Facebook group. Make sure y'all leave us a 5-star review, 5-star rating and a review. Let us know if you're enjoying the podcast. Jason, where can people find you and what are you up to?
You find me on the Twitters at JAYR1085. My workload has slowed, so the only other show I'm doing right now is The Gilded Age with Marissa Garza. So go check that out over on Post Show Recaps. Having a fun time, having a nice doozy. What did your person that watches the show think of last episode? You haven't told me.
So I did get a personal message that said, "Tell Jason I'm enjoying all the podcasts so far."
Okay. Not effusive enough in the praise.
That's a rave review. No, this person did say that they were watching this last episode of The Gilded Age and specifically thought, "Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to hear what Jason and Marissa have to say about this because it's going to be funny."
Okay. All right. Why are we hiding the person's identity? Are we supposed to be doing
We're
that?
not. You started this.
I didn't know. You're so secretive all the time.
Am I?
You are. You really are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So y'all that don't know, my boyfriend is watching The Gilded Age. And so I sent him to Jason's podcast.
Yeah. So I'm now invested in what your boyfriend thinks.
What he thinks.
Yeah. Well, you don't watch, so you know.
Yeah. I mean, I could say, "Oh, I'll catch up," but why lie?
You lie, yeah. Unlike when do you remember the early days of this podcast when Asia said she's going to watch a Marvel movie a week?
I don't know what you're talking about.
After Jasmina and inspired her to watch Marvel movies, and she watched one, and called it quits.
Ooh, it was exhausting.
It was going to be a weekly segment. It was going to be a segment on the podcast about what you thought about the weekly Marvel movie, and then you just quit.
Look, we just talked about one couple for an hour and a half. You think we got time for movie reviews?
Yeah.
We barely got time to breathe. Y'all can follow me on all social media at Aysha like Aysha. You could also follow some of my dog content over on at Malshi Poo Sisters on TikTok. They haven't made a TikTok in a while, but there's plenty for y'all to enjoy if you want to catch up. They told me they've been wanting to make one, so we'll get around to it.
Dog started talking to her now, y'all. Somebody go help her. Wait.
Usually when I leave the house, I put on a dog TV, but lately I've been putting on the live coverage of Bluey, and they really enjoy that.
The live coverage of Bluey.
They just play episodes of Bluey back to back to back on YouTube. It's like Disney Junior. Don't sleep on Bluey. It's actually a really good show.
I know about Bluey. Listen, we went on a vacation to Ocean City, and I don't know how Bluey got on the TV, but we were all transfixed for a good 3 episodes.
There's something in Bluey because it don't make no sense. How many adults I know have watched episodes of Bluey?
That's kind of good. This is relatable. This is relatable content.
Oh my God. Yeah. Bluey and Bingo, and then the mom and the dad. The dad's so active in their lives, and it's so.
Welcome to the Bluey podcast, y'all. This is extra bonus content.
We got to pitch it to Post Show Recaps.
Come from Married First Sight, stay for the Bluey.
Stay for Bluey? No, but really, there was somebody was talking about that on TikTok, was that Bluey uses colors that's appealing to dogs because dogs can see blue and yellow. I put Bluey on one day for the first time. Cinnamon was fixed on the TV. She was so she was watching TV. Pepper didn't care. But so mainly when I put on Bluey, it's for Cinnamon. But anyway,
you're dog momness. Gotta put on my kid's favorite show.
Right. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us. I know we went a little longer today, but this is what we used to do last season mostly when we had 5 couples to cover for a little bit. But yeah, make sure y'all come back next week when we cover episode 8. That podcast will be a little delayed. I got to go out of town for a work trip. We're having our Christmas party. So guys, it's really early December. But I guess that's the time before people really start traveling for the holidays. So I'll be out of town. So do expect this podcast to be delayed. We'll probably drop at the end of the weekend, thinking maybe Sunday. So just you know why you won't miss it if you're in the Facebook group, a Perfect Match Podcast. You also won't miss it if you subscribe to our feed. Okay? Just saying. Make sure y'all go like
It'll
the
it'll
YouTube.
pop up there whenever Aysha deems herself ready to give you content.
Right. When I feel ready to talk about next week, then
When
we'll
she looks
talk about
down
it.
upon her peasants and gives them what they are waiting for.
Oh my gosh. We got lives out here. All right, y'all. Thank y'all so much for sticking with us, and we will be back next week. Bye.